I think we had some struggles through the weekend offensively, but defensively, I think and rebounding wise, I think they battled against different types of opponents, and I'm really happy. I'm a little surprised at how we defended. I mean, I'm never surprised at what we do offensively, because we can be a little freakish offensively at times, and we really weren't this weekend, a little bit today. But defensively, we've really kind of had struggles off and on all year. But I thought this weekend, we stayed within the game plan and stayed pretty focused for 40 minutes most games.
You were quieter today, which must mean your guys did a lot of things right.
Yeah, I tend to try to get quieter at the Nationals. At the Nationals, my guys are... they're nervous enough, especially when it's close. I mean, when you get up, I think it's a time where you got to bring some intensities to make sure that they understand that it's not going to be easy. I mean, there's a reason you're at Nationals. But I mean, at Nationals, you've done what you can do in terms of motivation, in terms of getting guys to be focused for 40 minutes. If they're not capable of doing it here, they're not going to ever do it. But like I said, they're kids. I mean, these guys are. They're young kids. I mean, Phil Scrubb just turned 20, and he's the best player in our country, and they get nervous. They're in the hometown of their university. Everybody wants them to win. Everybody kind of expects them to win, and there's enough tension without a raving lunatic coach on the sideline. Whereas in league play, sometimes I think I need to make sure that they stay focused, especially at the defensive end.
The moment the buzzer sounds, what's that feeling? You won the game. The buzzer sounds. What are you thinking?
I'm just proud of my guys. I mean, if you came to practices, you'd understand how hard they're expected to work. I mean, not just the expectations from the coaches, but from the leaders, but even more so from the alumni, like the guys who have won in the past. I mean, if you came to a summer scrimmage when it's not a practice and I'm not even in the gym, it's almost worse when the Rob Saunders and the Osvaldo Giannis are in and Aaron Dornkamps are in scrimmaging with them. There's some expectations that are pretty high, and these guys take a lot of heat in terms of always having to play at a high level. And I think some of the freshmen come in and do the it's July, coaches at a cottage somewhere, and I'm getting screamed at by some old guy who plays pro in Germany. What's going on here? And I think I think it's a credit to those guys, the expectations they put on our guys, and our guys have responded.
Has the record been anything special?
Not really. I mean, it's one at a time. I mean, it's a different group of guys every year, and I say this very sincerely, comparing myself to Ken Shields, I mean, it's not a fair comparison. Ken was a groundbreaker in Canadian basketball. I mean, I followed what he had already said. I mean, he and Jack Donahue are the guys who really have changed Canadian basketball, and so to even compare that, I don't think it's a fair comparison to him. Like I said, there's when a record's made, people are going to break the record, but the people who set the standard are the ones who broke the ground. And I mean, I still consider Ken a mentor in many ways. I mean, we talk probably 15, 20 times a year, and I mean, he gives me solicited advice, and when he sees me, he sometimes gives me unsolicited advice. And I generally take his advice, and sometimes I don't like his advice, but he's generally right. Sometimes I don't take it, but I admit that he might be right.
You said yesterday that win or lose, Lakehead's going to get your best. Was that your best?
I think it was close. I think it was close. I mean, I think defensively it was as good as can be expected. Rebounding wise, I think it was as good as can be expected. I think offensively we still, I'm not saying threw away a couple of possessions, but threw away a few where we didn't run the stuff that we should have run. And I mean, it's just a case, we just got to get more confident in terms of that stuff. But sometimes we ran the wrong stuff and scored. Sometimes talent trumps bad decisions. And but I mean, it was close. Certainly where I care about defense and rebounding, where my staff cares about, certainly we were very good.
You've said you're a year away. That's got to be scary for the competition.
Well, I mean, we would have been definitely a year away. I think we would have been really scary if we had a loss this weekend. Now it's a case of can we put some fear in these guys to take it to a level where they can be, better than last year's team. It's the team that went undefeated can and it's going to be tough because our league is a nightmare. I mean, from Ryerson to Ottawa U to Laurentian, Queens. I mean, even York were playing well at the end of the year. The Ontario East is just landmines everywhere. So, we might be as good or better than we've ever been next year and lose 5 games just because the competition is going to be so good.
Do you take time to stop and smell the roses now?
I'll take time to spend a pile of time with my kids, but we still have to get on some stuff. I mean, we'll get them back focused on where they need to be focused on with school. My main guys, we need to watch some tape. We're as well as we played, we're still not making comfortable decisions. I mean, we're still doing some things on talent, not on necessarily the perfect reads. So probably mid this week, once they get their focus back with school, we'll sit down for a few hours and watch a little bit of tape with Phil and Ty, so they don't get yelled at as much come September next year.
You spoke highly of Tommy yesterday. How happy are you for him to get rewarded for his strong play over the last 5 weeks?
He's been the best player in the country the last 6 weeks. I mean, he just has. And that's not taking anything away from Tyson and Phil. They're special players, and Phil has been the best player over the course of an extended year. I mean, his first semester was ridiculous, but I mean, the last 5-6 weeks, Tommy's done everything, offensively, defensively. I mean, he covers the best player in every single game, and he's been our best rebounder in pretty much every single game. I mean, it's just it's incredible where he's come, and it's a credit to what's happened now that he's competing every single day, trying to be better than Tyson, trying to be better than Phil, trying to be better when Osvaldo shows up, when those guys show up, the alumni show up. He wants now to try to be better than those guys, as opposed to sort of being a guy who fits well with them. And I think it's better. It's great for our team because we've got some guys who have some pretty high expectations.